Alan Peachy.
Speaker, I think that when New Zealanders have the chance to look back and reflect on the misfortune that struck Christchurch last month and think about the immediate event, the rescue efforts, the recovery efforts, and now the beginning of the reconstruction, they will look back and take a lot of confidence and a lot of satisfaction from the way that their government responded. And by that I mean government in the broadest possible sense. Obviously, it has not been perfect in every instance. In a situation like that, it never can be. But I think that everybody will agree that it has been pretty jolly good and that large numbers of New Zealanders have gotten behind the effort, broken their backs and done everything they possibly can. And that will continue. And I want to devote the time that I have in my short speech, Mr. Speaker, to actually talk about the education system in Christchurch and its response and the challenges that lie before it. Because right across the broad aspect of life, people in Christchurch are having to adapt. And it's no different for the children that go to school or their parents or their teachers. But really, the way that everybody has moved to get the schooling system, the education system generally, back in operation has been impressive. I understand that by the end of this week, 143 Christchurch schools will have been reopened. That's 88% of the schools. 234 ECE centres will have reopened. That's 69% of all ECE centres. Canterbury University is getting up and running. Imaginative exchange programs have been put in place for students at 5 other New Zealand universities, and some students have had the opportunity to go over to Adelaide. Christchurch Polytech is getting underway, Lincoln University, and a large number of the private training establishments. The city, in an education schooling sense, is getting underway and gradually getting back to normal. And it will not be easy. I think one of the most impressive things that is happening is the sharing of school resources. And that actually is going to be an interesting innovation and maybe turn out to be quite an educational experiment from which we will learn a lot and may have potential for other areas in New Zealand. And I certainly will be watching the outcome of that sharing very, very closely. The Papanui High School, Shirley Boys High School arrangement. Papanui High in the morning, Shirley Boys in the afternoon. And Shirley Boys, of course, one of the most seriously damaged schools in the city. And a school that has a great record of service, of educating boys in that particular part of the town. And I noted with interest in the media this morning comment by the principal of Shirley Boys, in which he said that it would be unrealistic to expect that most pupils will actually catch up on everything that they've missed. I'm not sure about that. But what I am confident of is that every effort will be made to ensure that the students in Canterbury schools, Christchurch schools, that have lost education will be able to catch up. And I'm really quite excited to hear some of the suggestions that are being made about the possibilities of extra tutorials, of school during the holidays, of Saturday classes, of bringing in volunteers and retired teachers to help. But I have every confidence that where schools decide to go the extra mile for their youngsters, whether it be Saturday classes, evening classes, holiday classes, teachers will step up and do the job, because that is what school teachers do. And I'd encourage, as a former school principal and teacher myself, I'd encourage Canterbury teachers to do that. Right? Teachers belong to a profession with a long history of service. And when needed, and Mr Davis opposite will concur, I think, with what I'm saying, and when called upon, they will step up. And in anticipation of that, I thank them for that effort.
Darian,